Um, okay, so this is Carol Pilkington, and do you want to just kind of start by telling us a little bit about your background and what you do?
Yes, I have over 20 plus years and actually 30 years of experience in spirituality, transformational work, personal development work. And it's through my own experience and training with a Jungian psychiatrist, I'm sorry, a Jungian therapist, that it has afforded me the ability to work with people that are going through numerous traumas of life, navigating life in general, and uncovering and revealing the truth of who they really are so that they can live from that authentic place every day in each moment with joy, more energy, and purpose and meaning in life.
That is beautiful. Like that should
Thank you.
be like the top of your website or something. I don't know. It's really beautiful. Thank you for that.
Great. As I've talked about this before, we don't come into the world with a manual on how to be human. And so we come in predisposed to the programming and conditioning and um, belief systems of our family, our environment, society. And that keeps getting piled on top of us and piled up on top of us. And then there are the things that might happen to us physically and emotionally as a result of all of that as well. And so that produces a feeling of not being safe in the world
Mm,
and fears about being with other people. We're so isolated at times when we first come into the world. We're only with our parents and maybe our siblings, if there are any at all.
sure.
And then we are exposed to the external world beyond that. And that in itself can become a very frightening environment to be in. And as we absorb the belief systems around us and we experience our environment's belief systems, we become traumatized
Yeah.
because we look up to the people that bring us into the world, and extended family, extended community, to tell us who we are, tell us how to be in the world. And so then we absorb all of that, and we are at the mercy of all of that. So, how do we become our own person? Um, Jane Rudyard called it personhood. How do we
Mhm.
become our own person? And it takes time to work through what is ours and what is somebody else's truth,
So
and
is this,
being able to take responsibility for that.
yeah,
Yes, our
yeah,
light gets subdued and dimmed,
yeah.
and we receive messages saying that we're not good enough, we're not doing enough, we have to be better. And so then we play the comparison game.
Mm.
So all of that is about compared to what, compared to whom, right? And so that begins to diminish our own light according to what others are or what others feel that we should be. And there's a lot of confusion in that.
And so is this what we're talking about when we say authentic self? Because sometimes you'll use that term in this, in the fields that we work in, and people don't really understand what you're talking about when you say authentic self.
um, it's a process to uncover our own true nature,
Yeah.
because becoming predisposed to our environment and what we're absorbing, and we don't even realize we're absorbing all of this. And so at some point, some of us begin to question, is that really mine? Do I really believe in that?
Yeah.
Is that something that I I feel is true for me. And it's at that point that we begin to reveal and get to know what it is that we stand for and what is our true experience of something. And there's a difference. I differentiate between a knowing and a belief system. A
Mm,
belief system is something that we absorb through others, what they say, what they write, how they behave. We absorb all of that. But when we begin to directly experience something, then it becomes a knowing, because then we can come from our own truth about
yeah,
what something is, about who we are.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I wanted to talk about a little bit, if you don't mind, about
Mm,
what anxiety and depression and all of these symptoms of being human look like, right?
yes, please.
So what I've observed and what I've experienced myself is that there's an isolation around it, like
Yeah,
a shame and guilt and feeling like they're totally alone and that they're the only ones.
yeah,
I know that I have felt that way in my lifetime. And so that creates more of an anxiety. It's compounded, if you will. And then there can be severe panic attacks and feeling like there's so much pressure in the chest, like an elephant sitting on one's chest,
yeah,
and not feeling like they're able to face the world. All the while knowing that they have to make a living, that they have to put food on the table in order to survive. It's always coming from survival mode and feeling like I'm so stressed and so afraid of just being. It's a very painful way to it's a very painful existence.
yeah, absolutely.
And so what I have learned to do is face the fear, face that fear right smack in the eye. I know sometimes it feels like it's going to swallow us up and we'll never come through it, but that's where the bravery and the courage to do it comes comes to mind.
Okay.
If we want to live full out, we want to have joy in our lives, we have to take that one step. It's all that takes is that one step forward to take that, to dip one's toe in the waters of seeing what it really is, what that fear is made up of. And if at all possible, to do it with someone that you feel safe with to do that with, you know. I know I've had a wonderful support system. I'm been fortunate enough to find people that I can engage in this process with, and it is a process to assure me that I wasn't going to get further lost in the inertia of it.
So you've had your own experiences with this. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
But if they can find a way to take that first step towards relief and expressing what's going on, the more we express, the less the pressure.
okay,
But the more we hold it in, the the more pressure we experience to dampen it down, to hide and to isolate.
okay,
So it's really, really important for people to understand that there really is help out there, to really know that they are not alone,
yeah,
that they are not the only ones going through this. And that can be such a huge help and relief.
yeah. So how do we go about, um, I think we pretty much showed how, not having your authentic self recognized can be traumatic. So you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have depression, you may have physical illness like I did, you know. How are what are some healthy ways of sort of starting to work through the trauma and get back to fundamentally who we are, back to our authentic self?
Well, there's an exercise that I was taught that really helped me to become present
Okay.
in the moment, um, when I was too scattered or really not present. And it's a question that actually can bring us into present time.
Okay.
And so what I learned from that is that while I was feeling emotionally distraught and in despair, when I asked, where am I now?
Okay.
I had to really observe and take a look at and see exactly where I was. Doesn't mean that I'm sitting here in this chair, in this, within these four walls, but where am I emotionally, psychologically? So anything can come up as a result of asking that question. But the more I asked it, and not as a mantra, but as a true question to be experienced, if you will, we can experience the question, we can experience the answer. It's not a mental question like, where are you?
Yeah.
We can,
Yeah.
offhandedly ask any question, but when we really want to have an answer to something, it fills our whole being. So, where am I now?
Okay.
And then sit quietly for something to arise. I'm in despair. I feel sad. That's an answer that
Mm.
comes up. And then you might ask again, where am I now? And to be able to continually ask that question and experience more awareness of your surroundings, of where you actually are, and being in the body. Sometimes we feel like we're not in the body and we have to get back in the body
And
to
so is that,
inhabit the body again.
yeah, so is that's kind of from trauma, right? Like we disassociate a little bit, we check out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we have to start integrating back into the body. So where am I now is almost like an anchor.
Yes.
Yeah, like to pull you back in. Yeah. So did you want to practice it? Did you want me to be
Yeah.
your, okay, I'll be your
Let's
guinea
do it.
pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me where you are now.
Right now I am open to receive. That's what I feel. I feel open.
Thank you. Tell me where you are now.
Now I feel curious. I feel some energy sort of stirring in my heart. I'm curious. What is that about?
Thank you. And just for the audience, the reason why I'm saying thank you is that I'm letting Jessica know that I am receiving her communication, and it sets everything back to zero so that we're starting fresh and new each time the question is asked. Tell me where you are now.
I'm feeling unsettled because I'm having a memory of being a child and asking questions that were um, shut down.
Thank you. Tell me where you are now.
I feel like I want to laugh because I realize I've made a career of asking questions. Yeah. And there's for the audience, this is my throat chakra. This is about speaking our truth authentically, and I'm feeling energy clear out of my throat. So that little girl who couldn't ask the questions is coming up, and it is healing. Yeah, I'm gonna need to take a drink of water. That's very powerful. Yeah, that's coming up. It's releasing. I could feel it leaving. That it was like it was like my throat would get tight. I would try
Hmm.
and talk, and it was like my vocal cords would constrict.
Thank you. Tell me where you are now.
I feel proud. I'm gonna cry.
Thank you. Tell me where you are now.
I feel grateful for the journey, what I've learned from my trauma. That it taught me how to understand other humans and what their suffering looked like and felt like.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Tell me where you are now.
I feel relieved because that was released. That whatever, the throat chakra thing. I feel like I was probably in about fourth grade. It's funny I brought that up. So I feel relieved. I feel very calm.
Great. Are you ready to end the exercise?
I think so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. That was very powerful. I was not prepared for how powerful that was. Ooh.
It's amazing. You don't know what's going to come up, and it's not
Mm-mm.
about force, right? It's just about allowing whatever is there to come up to be seen and expressed. And anybody
Yeah.
that's watching this, when if you don't have someone that you can trust to do this exercise with you, you can write down your answers so that it gets out of your head and it gets out of your body. So that could be helpful as well.
So how do you like I know intuitively you knew that I was done because I've gone through a process of clearing, but let's say, students are watching this. How do they know when they're done with the
There,
process?
yes, there can be um, a feeling of, like you said, calm, or that they feel like they really do feel like they're back in their body and back in the room, that they have a full awareness of their surroundings. And that brings them into the present moment, that they're not in the past, they're not in the future, but they are really right here, right now.
Okay. Wow. So is there any just wrapping up? Is there any other thing you wanted to touch on?
I think the main thing that I want people to know is that they really are not alone, that they do not have to go through this alone. It's so vital that people understand that, and to reach out, to find resources that they can, take advantage of. And then it's, be okay with it not having to be traditional. And if that's your route, then be okay with that too.
Sure.
But make the choice yourself, have the decision be your own, and own it and take responsibility for it,
Yeah.
not just based on what other people are telling you that you need. You need to know that you need help.
And this is going back to the authentic self, and our whole lives we've listened to other people. So then this is about tuning into what we need, not what other people think, not what other people need us to be, right? What
Yeah,
we need to feel better. Yeah. And that's such an act of self-care in itself, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, this was magical. Thank you so much, Carol.
My
Wow.
pleasure.